All right. So yeah, I'm going to be speaking with you about variable fonts. So variable fonts are now a feature on the fonts.google.com catalog. If you visit that site, you see we have a checkbox at the top. If you check that checkbox, you're filtered to show only variable fonts. And so I want to speak with you about what the benefits of variable fonts are. And really, there's three big benefits: to compress, to express, and to finesse your typography. So that first benefit, compress, what we mean by that is that if you go to a variable font family, you'll often see a range of weights. And before variable fonts, then there would be one font file for each style in the family, for each weight. And so you can see here, we've got sort of 8 or 9 weights, and that would mean 8 or 9 font files. But with a variable font, then these can be sort of compressed down into one file, and you can choose any weight between the thinnest and the heaviest weights. So this is a measurable benefit. It's something which in a sense doesn't provide new typography, but for many web designers, they may be providing less styles or weights due to file size concerns. So by sort of compressing the styles into 1 or 2 files, we can enable new typography by giving designers the full range. And that's kind of that second benefit, to express. And so with this hep to slab font family, you can see if you scroll down, there's not only the previous set of weights, but a weight slider here. And you can move that slider to obtain any weight, the maximum weight, the sort of previous 100 weight, and now in fact even a weight number 1, like a very, very hairline thin weight. So this expressivity, this ability to move up and down a slider and pick the kind of style you want, offers a sort of next level of expressivity in typography. The third benefit is sort of really the sort of next generation aspect of variable fonts, this ability to finesse your typography. And here we have Latin and Arabic font Kufan, and you can see it has a weight axis. And as you increase the weight axis, then the letter forms, as well as getting bolder, get wider. And so you can see that this has broken that line into 2 lines. Well, if your headline was not needing such a heavy weight, if it was using a sort of more medium weight, you might find it also breaking into 2 lines. But with just a kind of 1% adjustment from there, you could see that same weight, a very similar weight, fitting onto 1 line. So this kind of very small adjustments to the variables in a variable font can allow you to sort of automatically optimize your typography. So instead of a user sliding a slider to find a value, there would be some kind of contextual heuristic or algorithm which could then set the axes values. In this case, it could be like a headline fitting algorithm to try and minimize the number of lines on a headline. And one of the axes, which is quite common, is called optical size. And so we have an upcoming type release called Roboto Flex. And you can see on the left the original Roboto. And you can see that at increasing sizes, the regular weight starts to feel kind of more heavy. So for headline 2 and headline 1, the lightweight is actually used. But this creates a kind of inconsistency in the color. For optical size, this is a variable font axis which is adjusting the typeface for every size. And so consequently, you can see a very even range of color at all of these sizes. And for the user, that means that they don't have to change anything about the typeface. They just set the size, and that contextual kind of heuristic to match the size to the optical size specific design is going to create that optimization of selecting a different style for every different size. So this kind of finesse benefit, I think, is very powerful, and we can kind of go further to further optimize the typeface. Sorry, my son. Yes, Thomas. And we on Google Fonts have a new knowledge section, Google fonts.google.com/knowledge, which provides some sort of extra information about these kinds of topics and how to choose typefaces that have optical size. Additionally, we can kind of go beyond that, and I'll hand over to Hilary to talk a little bit about how we see readability and how variable fonts could be used in this way.
Cool. Yeah. As has been highlighted in the introductions, the individual differences, the people are actually an essential part of readability. Nothing can be read without a person to read it. And that variability is huge. And one of the most striking things about the research from the Readability Consortium is the extent to which typography can actually impact readability for different people. And naturally there are individual differences. So with learners, children, and elderly people whose eyesight is changing nature as they age. Texts obviously have an impact on readability. I've listed some reasons here. But typography can actually have what's a striking impact. I'd like to refer to Tim's comment earlier. The design, the nature of design around the use of typography is fundamentally being changed by variable fonts. We're not only enabling the designers to make much more fine-grained decisions with respect to how to impact the readers they want to impact with the right expression in the same font, but also enabling those readers to have that font adjusted or to adjust it themselves. I'd rather it happens automatically somehow, which in the distant future, maybe there will be detection possible for different types of abilities and capabilities that will maximize people's reading ability.
Yeah, and so I think that's this way of combining express and finesse benefits. So thank you, Hilary. For more reading, as I said, we have the Google Fonts Knowledge site. We have design.google, a kind of design magazine where we have an introduction to variable fonts and an introduction for developers on the web.dev site. Additionally, we have the material.io typography guidelines. And I gave a longer lecture about this sort of optical size topic in detail that's on YouTube. So thank you.